So she was not at home but out on new adventures. And who knows how long she would be? There was no telling. I agreed with myself to leave a letter for her. I chose to thank her for the help and explained that in a way she had helped me on my journey, even though she was gone when I came to that world. But that she should find me when she got back so we could talk face to face. Then I went up to my mansion where the doctor had just finished. I met him on the way out the door. He said Timmy needed to rest his leg for 4 to 6 weeks, so I asked if he could take the train or if he should fly to Noxdonia. He didn't think it would be good to fly, but it wouldn't be good to take the train either, because he would then have to go down to the station, and the short trip would perhaps be best after some time of rest. And the air pressure when we flew would perhaps give him more pain. But he had not expressed that when we went here. Maybe Timmy just didn't want to say anything? Maybe it would be nice if he stayed here so I could come and pick him up when he was ready to leave. In the meantime, I could drop by with some chocolate and such. I talked to Timmy about it, and we agreed that it was best for him to stay. I wanted to take the train so I could take the big airship when I had to go back. The next day I packed the bag and made sure that someone would come by 3 times a day so that Timmy could get food and drink and get help if he needed to. Then I set off, first to the station and then by train to Noxdonia. First stop was Tokoga Lake, then on to Helgantia in the Nether, out the other side through the snow to Altiva Forest. Past Treefell and Pirate Bay, and the last stop before Noxdonia was Jesper 2900's area, which still hadn't been given a name. So the trip was long and would probably take a few days. When I arrived, it was just as it used to be, just as I remembered it should be. I walked down through the town and up to my house. There was a balloon and beer festival in town. I went straight towards my house. I knew I had armor and equipment there. I wanted to see if I could get over to the kingdom of Trilonia and talk to Queen Morgana about our Lord Kilroy problem. And I am aware that he is her brother and that she might have something to say about it. I packed my things and left in the large airship and began my journey towards Trilonia to speak with Queen Morgana. I flew past the festival and out of town. On the way, I thought a lot about how I should express myself when I talked to Morgana. We had always been good friends, and there had never been any hatred or mistrust between us, and Lord Kilroy was not part of the picture until the war between Trilonia and the kingdom of Kalbu. When I flew over the train tunnel, I thought back to when we built it. It took a long time, and I almost gave up several times. It was a project I didn't want to throw myself into again. Now I was almost there, and I could feel myself getting more and more eager to get there. It felt as if I had been gone for hundreds of years, even though it might only have been 2 years since I last saw them. When I got over the last mountain, I looked right down on the town of Trilonia. The town looked strangely empty. Something was very wrong down there. I landed next to the castle. There was a news table set up, and I went over and read it. It said, "Our beloved queen is dead, murdered by her own brother." It was as if the whole world lost all color and the light disappeared. My good friend, whom I had known for most of my life, was gone. And because of her brother, who had now also taken her life, I never really got to say goodbye. But what about her husband and son? Where were they in all this mess? I went over towards the castle, and there I saw the burial place. It was terrible. All 3 of them were there. He didn't get out of this one. He crossed the line this time. He was going to pay. I sought out one of the locals. He said that, according to the agreement made before the Kalbu War, I should now take over the kingdom. That's when it really hit me that Prince Merlin was dead too. It was otherwise him who had to take over, and only if he didn't have a successor should I take over. That was what our kingdoms had agreed upon at the end of the war. He also said that Lord Kilroy had told everyone that I was dead, and that he himself had seen you being eaten by a great black dragon. This is what started the quarrel that ended Queen Morgana's life. She didn't think he was telling the truth, and that made him furious. The man I spoke to had been a servant at the castle when it all went wrong. "I'll kill him," I muttered, and had almost left the place when he shouted after me that it was too late. I stopped and went back, looked him deep in the eyes and said, "Explain." The man was pale with fear, but said that was why there were not so many left in the town. They all wanted him to be tried for his crimes, but a big fight broke out and many were killed. Even Lord Kilroy and his son Ash died in the battle. I thanked him for all the information he had provided and walked over to my airship. I had to fly over to his palace and see what had happened. When I arrived, I could see that part of the palace was in flames. I landed and rushed in. I knew he had a daughter, and the man hadn't said anything about her. Maybe she was still there.